he has this habit of exploding a bomb in every session. And most of them are forgotten after the session is over, or they are kept alive as a threat. You remember one nation, one election. Remember uniform civil code. So he keeps bombing these torpedoes every time he's cornered that I have something up my sleeve. He's diverted attention, but the main point of contention during this session has been SIR, if you remember, SIR. SIR has been a blatant act of partisanship that I have not seen. This arrogance and bias comes from a culture of feeding them for the last 11 years to get more and more wide. 65 lakh voters being slashed off the rolls. I have never heard of it, whatever be the reason.
Do you see the possibility of Prime Minister Modi being removed maybe in few months, if not immediately? Because the scenario is getting bleaker and bleaker.
Just forget the dream that Modi will be removed by electoral devastation. He is not the type to accept it. He will call it stolen election. Trump's tantrums of stolen election is only baby play compared to what Modi can show, if at all he reaches that stage. The only way that Mr. Modi can go is when the RSS and a section of the party decide that we have just had enough.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Now, senior lawyers, activists, opposition MPs have raised concerns over the misuse of the three contentious bills tabled in Parliament under what is called the 130th Constitution Amendment Bill. Now, say, for example, I'll just give you some examples of the kind of opinions which are coming from the cross-section of the society. Now, senior advocate and activist Indira Jaisingh has said that she's opposed to the Constitution 130th Amendment Bill. It seeks to remove a prime minister, chief minister, or any other minister in jail for 30 days without conviction. And she says that in a country where criminal law is used for persecution, not prosecution, and as a tool for eliminating all opposition parties, the proposed constitutional amendment is also weaponizing the Constitution. Then she says that when the ED and the CBI are under the direct control of the central government, federalism gets destroyed. She also says that this legislation will lead the country to one-party rule, as the ministers of the ruling party will be the only ones left standing. So this is one example. Similarly, various other law scholars have pointed out, and they've said that they are bewildered why people reporting on the three new bills are mostly omitting the rather important fact that they need 2/3 of the majorities in both houses to pass, which is impossible unless the opposition votes for them en masse. Now, similarly, senior advocate and DMK Rajya Sabha MPP Wilson wrote on the X that the 130th Constitution Amendment Bill moved by the Home Minister Amit Shah is clearly part of a diabolical plan to turn India into a dictatorship. So these are various opinions on the basis of which people are opposing the legislation. Now, the legislation has been sent to a select committee, but it has left people guessing as to what was the need, why the government brought in a contentious legislation at a time when the entire country was seeking answers on the special intensive revision and the vote theft campaign and the big expose of Rahul Gandhi. Now, was it an attention diversionary tactics? Or do you see this as some kind of a big or a sinister design on the part of the Modi government? But we'll try and discuss that. Is this Modi's last act of desperation? Because you read it in history books and in the novels, when the emperor is losing, he acts on the desperate mode and he kicks on the desperation button. Is this the last act of desperation on the part of the Prime Minister Modi? Because he's cornered from all across, internationally, geopolitically, strategically, and also politically on the home front. Joining me this evening is a very special guest, former Trinamool Congress Rajya Sabha MP, columnist, author, and a former bureaucrat as well. Thank you so much, Jawhar Sircar, for joining on the HW News. And my first question to you, sir, is you've been in Parliament for long. Do you see Prime Minister Modi bringing in this 130th Constitution Amendment Bill as a last act of desperation?
No, I don't see it as the last act. There are lots of last acts he has up his sleeve. You know, he has this habit of exploding a bomb in every session. And most of them are forgotten after the session is over, or they are kept alive as a threat. You remember one nation, one election. Remember uniform civil code. So he keeps bombing these torpedoes every time he's cornered that I have something up my sleeve. And now we don't talk about one nation, one election anymore, though he has got it ratified by a rubber stamp president, ex-president and all that. It's just not workable. He knows that. The point is, there are 2 points. Number one, very much as we would like to think he feels cornered, he is really not that cornered as yet. Not that cornered as yet. He is in a difficult wicket, that's all. He's in a difficult wicket. There's no sign of him even attempting to defend his fortress in that sense of what we call the final assault. That's number one. Number two, the gross realities of Indian politics are not sinking in to those who still believe in constitutional propriety. Let me be a little more blunt. In the last 7 years, 6 years, 9 constitutionally elected state governments were toppled, not by governor's rule, that's old-fashioned. Indira Gandhi used to do it, that's old-fashioned, were toppled by money power. Money power, absolute money power, okay? And many of them, like Karnataka and Maharashtra, were reinstated with a combination of money power and electoral jugglery. I'm using the word electoral jugglery because it's being proven by the day that there is more to it than meets the eye. We had always suspected it, but more coming up. So money is a major factor that you have to understand, that even if you bring down Mr. Modi from 240 to 140, he has money. I have not used the term they, I have to use the term he. He is a product of nouveau capital, post-1991 capital accumulation in the hands of what we call the systems manipulators. The systems manipulators have been working through the permit control Raj. They have used the levers of the permit control Raj to set up plants and all that. They know their way around, but they have crossed all limits. Like yesterday, the US Secretary for Treasury bluntly mentioned that the Russian oil thing boils down to Modi enriching select families. If you read it again, select families. While the press in India remains mute on this score, I have been saying, many others of the opposition have been saying, that this Russian oil import thing has been a money spinner where Modi's friends are concerned. And I have proven it with ample evidence, signed evidence from his government as to how much they could have possibly made. There's no denial. There were 22 or 23 letters between me and the Union Petroleum Minister. It's out in the public domain. So now today, just now, Jaishankar defended it, saying, just now, about 5 minutes ago, I read that he's defending the Russian oil thing. Now, Trump is a dirty player. He's not a normal player. He's caught them where it hurts. By catching them where it hurts, he's hit upon a nerve that nobody in India has spoken up to so far. so far. That is, you have been using Russian oil not for patriotic and nationalist purposes, not for lowering the cost of petrol and diesel for your citizens. You've just kept it stable. That's all, somewhat stable. You have done it for your crony capitalists. So that's one. Now coming back to the same point of crony capitalism, this has grown out of hand, which is one of the reasons why I could leave politics and get out. It's not possible.
Hmm.
Anything can be done with money. Now let's get to figures. Let's get to numbers where we stand today. Now Modi has 240, which is the minority, and in all grace, he should have quit, saying that I've lost the election, like they do in Britain, they do in other countries, that I have not been able to win. Instead, he has borrowed 40 votes from four parties. He's got 16 from the TDP, with whom they broke off in 2018, abusing each other wildly. 2018, they were together and then they broke off. He's borrowed it from his flip-flop friend, the JDU. He's borrowed. So together they have put in 40 votes. And they're extracting as much as they can. Extracting as much as they can. So logically, people are saying if these 40 votes could be taken over on the Charan Singh model and rewarded very heavily, Modi's majority is out. Modi's majority is out. If 40 or even 30 of them are taken over, it's not very impossible. If you offer something, a big lollipop that you can't refuse to Chandrababu Naidu, whose personal ambitions are well known, he would not refuse. Neither did Charan Singh, nor did Devilal. Nobody refused. Or Chandrasekhar. We have gone through that period. So theoretically, that is possible. Theoretically, that is possible. But practically, I don't think it is possible because money power will come in. How much have you given to him? I will double it. And I will double it is something that only Mr. Narendra Modi can say. And he had,
But
and I'm
sir,
putting it that not even the party. The party
right.
is not so complicit, if I may put it, in all this. This
No, but
money
since the
goes to him.
Yeah, but Mr. Sarkar, since the time Amit Shah tabled this bill yesterday in Parliament,
Mm,
people
mm.
have been discussing various possibilities that will this government now crumble under the pressure of its own allies now because the allies will question there are question marks on whether Naidu would support the 130th constitution amendment bill. It could be used against him, not to forget that he was in jail before he became the chief minister. It could be used against Nitish Kumar. It could be used against his own CMs like Yogi Adityanath, who pose as challengers. So has Modi opened a Pandora's box by bringing in this unexpected 130th constitution amendment bill?
He has done it. Obviously, he has done it. He's diverted attention. But the main point of contention during this session has been SIR, if you remember, SIR.
Yes.
SIR has been a blatant act of partisanship that I have not seen. I conducted my first election as assistant returning officer during Indira Gandhi's 1977 vote. I was assistant returning officer in that poll that drove away Indira Gandhi, 1977. From that till the time, I have been state chief electoral officer conducting two full parliament elections in West Bengal, a difficult state, I have seen this from 1977 till today. Believe me, and I'm saying this not as somebody who has had a brief foray in politics. I'm saying this somebody as a very, very worried citizen. Never have I seen such an arrogant and biased CEC. This arrogance and bias comes from a culture of feeding them for the last 11 years to get more and more wild. 65 lakh voters being slashed off the rolls. I have never heard of it, whatever be the reasons. You see, remember in 2004, 2024, when we went for elections, his predecessor, the CEC, that was another gentleman was mentioned. In 24, he was mentioning that after 2019, our voters have come up by more than 8.5 crores. And that's exactly what happens. The rate of growth could have been a little slow, may have been, but we haven't come to that demographic flattening. We are only talking about it. It will take us another 10 years to reach the demographic flattening because the demographic contours are still weighted in favor of the young, which means the
No, but
voters list will go up and up and up for some more time.
But Mr.
Hmm.
Sarkar, what is your assumption with the way the leash is tightening around Prime Minister Modi,
Hmm.
whether it is internationally by Donald Trump's tariffs, the tariff bomb, or whether you see whatever is happening, whatever developments, the political developments back home on the domestic front, whether it is Operation Sindoor, whether it is SIR, whether it is Rahul Gandhi's big expose, and now the entire opposition coming together on this vote chori issue. Do you think that it looks like the end game of Prime Minister Modi?
He is in an unusually cornered position. He is in an unusually cornered position. You see, this his big bluff of the foreign policy, which was mainly post Jaishankar. In the early stages, we had a decent policy when Sushma Swaraj was around to temper him down, that these are not possible. But once he got Jaishankar in, and remains a docile bureaucrat, and now an aggressive one where the opposition is concerned, the same opposition he had served pretty wimpishly for many years. Jaishankar and company led him to believe, just like many other bureaucrats around him in Niti Aayog and others, that you are the last word in glory. So basically, India was punching well above its weight, and it would be called off. The bluff what would be called off. This Operation Sindoor was when the bluff was called off. Not one nation in the world, I repeat, not one nation in the world stood by India. Two nations stood by Pakistan. Turkey did and Azerbaijan did. And a dozen others said, Latte raho beta. That's all. Nobody bought that game that India had done it for terrorists. So on the foreign policy front, he's terribly isolated. Now he's crawling up to China. I'm using the term crawling up to China as and trying to make friends. And even when China is still in occupation of our territory, about which you can't question because there is this hyperactive judge who says you can't question all this if you are un-Indian for you to question. I think it's very un-Indian, unjudge-like for him to raise such a question. Unjudge-like. It's well beyond his remit to raise it, but nevertheless. So he's crawling up to China as a form of titular support. He is reinforcing his links with Russia because he understands that Trump understands only nuisance. Trump doesn't understand power. He understands nuisance. The way Trump crawled all the way up to North Korea, you remember? The spoiled brat of international politics, North Korea, that personally demented person, he crawled up because he never knew which nuclear toy he would play. The way he gets along with Netanyahu, who's known to be an international, what shall I say, an international thug. That's the only word we can use for the Gaza genocide. He crawls up to people, but Modi, for some reason or the other, is just not figuring in his game. So he's not figuring. Even China, with all the threats, he made up. He made up with China. There is reasonable peace. So Modi, once you don't get it into that bracket, you never get it into that bracket. You know, there's a small thing in the IAS when we were taught horse riding. We were told that a horse can assess a rider at the first moment. And if the horse chucks you off, as my horse did, chuck me off on the first round, and I fell off the horse, that particular horse never respected me. So where Trump is concerned, you must remember, he respects only somebody who can give him nightmares. Right now, he's making up with Putin, not so much for the Nobel Prize. The Nobel Prize is not available on a button, even if Pakistan says so. He's making up with Pakistan, not because Pakistan is, let us say, rolling in his pockets. He's doing it because he loves to play nuisance. He is just the bad kid on the block. So Modi is just not figuring, and I don't think he will figure. So that's going to be one bad shot where Modi is concerned. On the foreign policy, you purposely overbuilt India's Vishwaguru and things like that without having half the equipment, half the power to show your muscle. That's your problem. On the domestic front, Trump's 50% thing, I don't know how long it will last. I have a feeling he's going to withdraw the 25% after some time. He's going to devastate certain industries. Cotton, garments, shrimp exports, small scale units, automobile parts. It won't devastate our generic medicine because we are way ahead. We are way ahead. So the ones that the Trumpian tantrums will devastate are voter based, are employment based. He has played along non-growth, but jobless growth politics. Now he's going to go through the worst phase of jobless growth politics. Now let's see how he can handle it.
What is all this going to end into? Because there are two, three possibilities, and already so much of political conjecturing has started, on the public, the social media. Now, say for instance, I saw one tweet where people said that someone very close to Prime Minister Modi has betrayed him, and now he will be forced to give up on his PM post. Some people are writing that people within his own party, they have begun to rebel, and that too, it's happening internally. There are signals coming in from RSS, there are signals coming in from other BJP leaders, and Prime Minister is really in a very tight corner. What is really happening within the BJP as a party? What you assume is actually going to happen now with so much of negative coverage coming for Prime Minister Modi?
You see, his and what we call the 2.5 bottle. It was when Arun Jaitley was around, he was called point 0.5, and Amit Shah is 2, and Modi is 1. So we used to call the 2.5 bottle, Thai model. This Thai model worked for the first term. For the second term also, this 1919 election was beleaguered, as you know, and Pakistan gifted it to him through Pulwama. And Balakot and the and enthralled press came in. Big capital came to support him. The media came out and all that. So he scraped past 2019. 24 with all Ayodhya and Joshimats and Banaras, he was in a terrible position. So that's the first sign of the day. Number two, the RSS certainly did not fully cooperate in the 24 elections. As a half politician, I can tell you that. RSS did not fully cooperate in all the states. Without the RSS's ground support, the BJP as the so-called world's largest party cannot stand. But the same RSS turned around in the Maharashtra elections because they can't have their fiefdom, which is Maharashtra, Nagpur and surroundings, being threatened by a hostile government. So they stepped in. The RSS is not going to take his twoism now. 0.5 is gone, so there's no 0.5. Twoism now. That's number one. The RSS is going to extract its pound of flesh. Because the RSS has always believed in some amount of collective decision making. You must realize that however much one may like or dislike an organization, it is a dedicated organization. It has a lot of dedication in its own ideology, whether one likes it or not. There's a very strong discipline in it. There is no one-upmanship. One-upmanship is not allowed in the RSS. But here is an RSS deputationist, an RSS seconder, a person from the RSS, behaving as if he is the center. How do you see this? The failure to choose the president of the party. You couldn't choose the president of the party. When it came to choosing the vice president, you went in for a Kattar RSS. You have gone in for a Kattar RSS. So these are signs that the RSS is tightening. The other factor is, for the last 10, 11 years, other factors who have taken BJP to heights in their own mohallas, in their own districts, in their own state, have been cut to size. This cutting to size is something that everybody can't stand. The way he cut Thankar to size was pitiable. I mean, Thankar was the most supplicant vice president that India has ever seen. I'm repeating publicly. I like the man in his own way. I have suffered him in my own way, but he was the most supplicant, most pliable vice president come chairman of the Rajya Sabha that India has ever seen. But even he was not pliant enough. Thankar was made, you know what is the punching bag, just to show that I can do it to anyone. What you can do to Thankar, you can't do to everyone. Sorry. So it's the internal problems within the party, the interstate relation within the RSS that matters most. It is the foreign problems that he is facing, the repercussions on the Indian economy that he just can't avoid. These are the realities that are striking, and the opposition sees the chance. With so little groundswell in 2024, in fact, there was more groundswell in 19. With so little groundswell in 24, they almost got him up.
No, but
Now,
do you
if
see the possibility of Prime Minister? But Mr.
his
Sarkar, but
government
do you
after government will be threatened.
no, but do you see
And
the
he can't
possibility?
continue this dictatorial regime with one flunky who
No,
decides
obviously,
everything,
no.
brings in a
That
CC.
is what I'm coming
Mhm.
to, Dr. Mrs. Sarkar. That do you see the possibility of Prime Minister Modi being removed maybe in few months, if not immediately, because the scenario is getting bleaker and bleaker. Do you see the possibility of his removal very soon? It could be like 1 month or 2 months. Now his birthday is around the corner. RSS has already been mulling over the fact that people who've attained the age of 75 should be removed. So is all what is happening right now is part of the process of Modi's removal.
That's not.
Can you hear me, Mr. Sarkar? Mrs. Sarkar, can you hear me?
Uh, you see, Modi will not be removed through this electoral defeat. Uh, Modi cannot be, let us get, I can hear it. I can hear you now. There was a little break.
Yeah.
Just forget the dream that Modi will be removed by electoral devastation. He is not the type to accept it. He will call it stolen election. Trump's tantrums of stolen election is only baby play compared to what Modi can show, if at all he reaches that stage. The only way that Mr. Modi can go is when the RSS and a section of the party decide that we have just had enough. We implement the 75 rule, or we implement 75 plus 1 year grace rule, or something like that. They'll come up with some stratagem. Because they further continuance of this sort of politics is not only going to harm the economy, it's going to harm the polity as well. You see this rules about Bangladeshis. Or the entire machinery in India was put out after a particular people, the Bengali immigrant workers. How many did you find? 1,500. 1,500 is the maximum claim. When you keep claiming that they are in crores, obviously there are there. But the point is, it's not that easy. Not that easy. Because you yourself have a minister who wins from uh, irregular Bangladeshi votes, if I may use the term. You have another MP who wins from unregularized Bangladeshi votes. So, I mean, make up your mind. If they win from unregularized refugees, as they call it, if you go 10 miles north, just because he's a Muslim unregularized Bangladeshi, he becomes an infiltrator. Get your act clear. Get your act clear. He is in Calcutta tomorrow, I believe, and statesman has said that this will be one of the discussions that how do we control the movement of unregularized or illegal immigrants, as we say. Now, he will know a bit about illegal immigrants because the Americans have said that his community, his state contributed to 50% of the illegal immigrants caught at the American border last year. One state contributed 50%. So he knows a bit about this business of illegal immigrants. They said quite clearly, I'm sorry, it hurts me to mention a state, but they said that Gujarat alone contributed 50% of the illegal immigrants caught at the US borders. So he raises this bogey, whereas this bogey is not so big a factor. Not so big a factor. How many did they find in Jharkhand when they went into the Jharkhand election? How many have they notified as illegal uncitizen or non-citizens in Bihar? Bihar, they said they are dead, they are gone and all that. Could they identify non-citizens? So this sort of what shall I ruse that he keeps raising every now and then, hum ye kar denge, hum wo kar denge, and all that is part of his ghabrawa, that strategy. He's used to it. If he's removed, I still qualify by saying if he's removed, he will be removed by his party. He is not one to obey the mandate of the people. He's just not made of that stuff. Think of it, go back to his history and you'll understand what I'm talking about. A person who was never an MLA,
No, but what
a person
happens?
who has never
Supposing,
been in the opposition
no, but
and
Mr.
heard a
Sarkar,
single voice.
Mr. Sarkar, though it's a loud thinking, at the moment it's not happening. But what if Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar withdraw? The government stands fallen apart, or do you see them that by hook or crook they'll try and arrange for allies and somehow sustain the government? Will they do that, or you see Prime Minister Modi, okay, as if he said that
I did that.
हम झोला लेकर आए थे, झोला लेकर उठाकर चले जाएंगे. This is what he said. So do you see Modi picking up his jhola and walking away if Naidu and Nitish Kumar withdraw support from the government, from the center?
I can never see Modi picking up his Gucci jhola or his Armani jhola and going around. He's just too sunk in the world's luxuries. Yeah. And everyone knows that when somebody loves his own suit with his own name striped, he is narcissism taken to an extreme point. That's one of our problems. The man had some plus qualities, but narcissism taken to extreme point. He will not leave with a chola. He and his number two will try to settle the matter for saltado. They say in business line, so saltado. Saltado means get somehow by hook or by crook, preferably by crook, those who are threatening to go, give them something higher and keep them back and get some more on some allurement. After all, he is the product of capital, big capital. Remember, the wealth of the Ambanis has gone up by something like 350 times. The wealth of the Adanis have gone up by 2,400 times. I mean, so you can understand that these are required. I'm not blaming Ambani for making money. All I'm saying is that the Forbes report. So some of this capitalization of Indian politics is something that we Hindustanis just refuse to acknowledge. That this has become an open auction market. And that applies to Bengal also. That applies to many other states also, Maharashtra also. That applies to Assam also. So this capital flooding of politics. So the political numbers will matter only up to a point. Will be numbered only up to a point. Or the political numbers will be marshaled and brought in to prove a point. That's all. But the politics of a government losing its majority in the House of Commons is too gentlemanly for us to imagine in India at the present moment. 10 years ago, yes. 10 years ago, yes. Not now.
Okay, so the ferocity with which and the unexpected surprise with which this 130th Constitution Amendment Bill has been tabled by Amit Shah leads the entire country to many, many questions that what is the reason? And you've heard Mr. Jawhar Sircar speaking on this. Do send us your feedback and stay tuned to HW News. Thank you so much, Mr. Sircar, for joining this evening. Thank you.